Good morning,
Hey.
everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we are Aces53, and he jerked a little bit there.
Well, you also called me Galke, so thanks, Steve.
Did I say Galke?
Yeah, you did, Steve. It's fine.
Did I say Galke, not
Yeah.
Galke? Jeez, Louise.
Indeed, you did.
I
For shame.
apologize.
2.5 years means nothing to you.
Now.
Nothing to you.
That's right. Is your daughter laughing at you?
Yeah.
That's funny. Dude, yep. I don't even remember what day it is anymore. Ever since I rearranged my studio to have a standing desk over there so I can back to how I used to do it, I've just gotten so much done. Plus, adding those VAs that I found, huge difference. I mean, just the stuff I've gotten done, it's just ridiculous.
Give us examples.
I created a logo for my Operation Firewalk. Created a new logo for Helping the Brave for the Veterans Advocacy. Created 3 book covers.
Oh, wow.
What else did I do? They're working on all my lead magnets for my website. There's not just one. There's like 5 or 6 of them that I'm coming up with. It's just a matter of, again, it's like ChatGPT. You're limited. So I would come up with all these ideas and then couldn't find somebody to do it the way I wanted it done. And the way it's working now, it's once I get caught up with this, I'm just going to have them start editing my videos next.
Yeah. Well, that's for the people who haven't listened before, you found a pod, not a person. So you found a company that offers pods of VAs, so they have a whole variety of skills instead of just hiring a VA that's dedicated to you full time.
Correct. Because that one can't do it all. But what I have is I have a project manager overseeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So it's just a matter of creating the SOPs, standard operating procedures, for those who don't know what that
hold
means.
on one sec. I'm going to pull an Ed on you. Which mic are you going into? Because it doesn't sound like your normal one.
It should be my normal one.
You sound different.
Okay. Oh, you're right. You are so right, sir.
Just going to say I pulled an Ed on Ed.
Hold on.
I'm going to mark this one down
on the calendar.
Better
now? Is that better?
It's much better.
Okay. All right. It was trying to come through my computer.
Sorry.
Gosh, you caught me. Damn. To me, I sound great, but I didn't know it was coming through over there. Yeah. All right. Too many radio shows, too many other things this morning. Just threw me off. I apologize. All right. Yeah. Where was I? Could you hear me now?
The VAs. So you have a project manager.
Yeah. So the project manager. So they work with the other side and me, and I don't have to, so I just have to tell them again. It's how we use ChatGPT also is what you're limited by how you ask it and talk to them. So it's taught me to make sure I know exactly what I'm doing and put that information out there. So whatever I write, I clean it up with my other assistant and make sure that it's exactly what I want. And so to do my lead magnets I created, I spread out, okay, I need funnels. This is what I want, blah, blah, blah. And I also, not only did I know they know what they're doing, but I just had ChatGPT explain to, this is how I want it done and go high level, blah, blah, blah. Right. And, there's just so much I have going on. That's just limited. I've newsletter, the next is each one of the different things are going to have different tag, all this stuff, about that you've been trying to work on for your website and other stuff is just nice to be able to get it going.
There's so much. People think it's simple math, right? Like, okay, you get business card. Well, you get an LLC, then you get a business card and you just pop up a web page. That's the bare minimum for what you have to do. And you and I know, we went through, even when, I don't know when your first website was really like your professionally done one was, but mine was in 2021.
My personal one?
Yeah.
That was started in 2020.
2020. Okay. And then the one that was the same group we used was that 2020?
Like end of 2020 into 21.
Yeah. Right. So mine was late 2021. So we're not that far apart, but just the technology that's available now and everything, because it used to be LLC, business cards, website, SEO, you're off. And now it is so much more than that.
Yeah, because here's, you asked me what I had. So the landing page for my reverse mortgage webinar, all and the registration and set up through the Zooms, the whole thing, it's all set up.
Nice.
I don't have to do it. The lead magnets for edparcaut.com on my reverse mortgage site. I didn't like how it was coming up as the mobile side. So I had
Yeah.
him relook at it, redo it, and fix it.
Mhm.
And I mean, that was like here and back in 2 hours. Done. It's just easy. The stuff that you would normally, and I think this is what you really have to look at. Do you really need an agency handling your stuff,
Right.
or should you just go like I'm going? Because you don't have one more layer in there.
Well, that's the good news. I actually, and again, this is just because we both use it. And I watched today High Level. They did a free training. They do them all the time. So if you don't have High Level, you sign up for the 14-day. They'll let you join the trainings. And I joined one. It was just called Simple Wins, I think was the name of it. Hold on, what was the name of it? Quick Wins 2025. And they went through and they're like, just click here, go do this. Here's where AI automation can deal out, like your marketing campaign. Now, yes, there's some additional add-ons that you have to do in addition to the monthly subscription, but it was really freaking impressive what you can sit with them for an hour, and they do. And they've got, they call it their university, which is all these videos you can watch. So it's just the same thing that everything else, no matter what it is you're doing in your business. If you don't have money, you have time. Right. So if you have time, you can do a lot of things yourself. If you have money, you can pay people to do it. But that's the nice thing is, whereas it used to be so many different pieces of software that were required, Zapier, MailChimp, you name it. Now, so many things are in Go High Level that you really don't need a third party. Like one of the things they showed yesterday was now they have a Linktree that's in High Level. So I don't have to pay Linktree anymore. And then it's a different color than my website and everything else. You can just go, okay, I'm going to use High Level's Linktree. And then it matches my website, and it's all automated. So you're doing everything in one location. And now, to your point, you can do it. You can have a team do it for you, or you can have an agency do it for you.
Yeah.
And there's so many options with it.
The issue is I don't want, so you said I could do it. I don't want to do it, but I come up with the idea.
Correct.
And I have to explain to somebody how I want it. So why do I want to explain it to an agency person who has to then explain it to another person?
Right.
And this is, even these pods are saying agencies are falling left and right like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And so you need to be careful who you're going through and who's working on your stuff. Just be careful is all I'm saying. And I have Ralph who does my Operation Firewalk because through Rotary, he's great at it. Well, he does it for himself and his stuff because he's been doing it forever, but he's not doing it for everybody else. He's telling everybody else, here, go to my pod, pay them directly. Why do I want to make 10% on this and go through this headache?
And I like analogies. So a simple one is, look, you can do your own taxes. You can do your own taxes through a software, or you can hire a CPA to do your taxes for you. It's the same thing with the High Level type stuff or whatever platform you like. We just happen to use High Level. But it's the fact that you have that capability now. It used to be so many disparate softwares that you had to hire an expert to do it. And to your point, a lot of people what was successful, we've been talking about AI taking things out for a while. Agencies are one of the ones that are affected also. Graphic artists, like you said, you're now having it farmed out to a VA. You don't have to go hire a copywriter anymore. You can now go to ChatGPT. You can create logos and you can hire them for a percentage of what they used to make because they're not involved in the full process anymore. Attorneys, you can draft up half your documents and have an attorney review it versus have your attorney create it. Right. It's just, that's where we are in this day and age as a society.
Well, because I mean, like I told you, I did my Operation Firewalk logo, which is fucking killer. Excuse my language. And I had ChatGPT create it. Well, it's not at the level I wanted. So I sent it to them. They made some changes to it and boom, back. Didn't take 2 weeks. It didn't take a week. It took a day, if that. It took a couple hours, to make some changes. And then you pay for the time, 40 hours for a certain dollar amount. And the question is, and if you don't use it up, it rolls over the next month.
Yeah.
And if you run out, you can add another 40 hours, which is only $600 and some dollars. And then keep going. And that's what I plan on doing, because eventually I'll be caught up.
Right.
I just have so much I need to get done that I've been procrastinating on. Yeah. If you see my taskbar and everything that's in there that I need to do and all the stuff I need to do, I still have 5 or 6 more things that I still
got. It's like a CVS receipt.
I don't know what that is. Is that what
you don't know what that means? So most places will give you like a little paper receipt that's this big. A CVS one prints out like 5 pages long.
Sorry, don't go to CVS.
Can't believe, God, you don't know that reference?
No, I don't. I'm not hip.
All right. Well, Well, the other
Anyway,
thing
so
too-
I mean, we've been talking. I know we normally talk about certain things that's going to come on Thursday. We'll just drop it. We have somebody going to talk about masterminds on Thursday again.
Right.
But I just wanted to go over a little bit more today. That stop procrastinating on handing stuff off. Find the right people. It took me a while to find the right people, even though I was introduced to these people a year ago. I wasn't ready a year ago exactly the way I am now.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I mean, and then my personal website, I told them to do at Parcaut, do a couple changes, fix a few things. And then now I'm going to have them. So anything you can think about, they'll find the VA to do. And most of them are internal. They own, I don't want to say they own them, but they have, they work there. And
they have a strong pool to draw from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because there's, speed on your stuff and SEO on your stuff could all be done by them. Everything you could think of that you normally would go through an agency to get, they would be able to handle for you. And I'm not knocking agencies. There's a lot of good agencies out there. It's just limited by, again, they can only handle so much.
Right. No, that's the whole thing. You just got to figure out what's right for you. Going back to what we're going to talk about today is we've been talking the last few weeks, like you said, masterminds, what's the difference between them and coaching? Where's kind of the future of things going? And that's one of the things that our Joker's going to talk about on Thursday is what are the changes? Because it used to be people either had something that was live. So for example, next week I'll be at Greg Riggs' Secret Knock, 3-day event that he's got going on out there. That was a live event. Everybody here has been to some type of seminar gathering, either it be through work or you voluntarily went. That used to be the only way. And usually once you went to a seminar, then people offered coaching. Hey, it's either group coaching, one-on-one coaching. That then transformed into a mastermind. What's the difference between coaching versus a mastermind? Mastermind is more involvement. Coaching is like, hey, I'm going to bestow the information out to you. You take it and run with it. Mastermind is more of like hot seats, letting people, bringing in guest speakers, actually working to help people grow their business. As a matter of fact, you and I talked about the other day, like Qasim is part of what Driven, which is a mastermind. Then he's got one that he just started for turning 40 that he's going to do. And it's masterminds are more like incubators for businesses. It's not just here's the steps to follow, but how do we help you grow? How do you work together? And that's where a lot of partnerships and things come in together as well. And there's nothing wrong with any of those levels. Much like what we just talked about with running your marketing and everything else, it's what do you need right now with where you are?
Right. And then, the other thing I had set up was my veteran benefit company, all the opportunity, everything that you need to do, all that is being set up through them also. But the whole thing about Qasim, great guy. I would tell people is do his thing.
Yeah. Did you watch the video I sent you?
Yeah. I mean, it's do it. I mean, he is one of the smartest people that I know. I mean, and he makes me feel stupid when you talk to him.
He does. He has to dumb it down for everyone. It's just, that's where his brain works. I think the first time I ever saw him speak was traffic and conversion.
Yeah.
And granted, I didn't know jack about marketing at the time. I used to be in strictly sales. We didn't, marketing was a whole other department that did all this stuff that we didn't really believe in. And he was talking not just quickly, but at such an intelligence level that I felt like I needed a dunce hat.
No, but that's the whole purpose is you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to be one of the dumbest people in the room. So that way you learn. Right. And that's amazing stuff about that. Before I forget. So we talked earlier about, I had my book covers done. Well, I spoke to Eric Jorgensen. I think that's his name. He's the CEO of Scribe Media.
Okay.
So he's the one that he was the author and he was getting his stuff done at the time where everything fell apart. And then he liked it so much that he got some people to buy it. And then they asked him to run it. Really smart guy. Amazing. That thing's going to do very well. But again, that is a place where, you have your book done. If you can't write, well, they get the people who are the ghostwriters who actually take your words and put them into your actual writing. That's who I went through originally the first time. And if I wouldn't have done that, my book wouldn't have been as good as it was. Or is
the amount of people that actually there's a lot of things. It goes back to what we were taught in school. And that is, oh my gosh, if you have somebody ghostwrite it, you're cheating. No,
you don't understand
you're working smarter. Yeah. It's letting someone who has that skill interview you and put it down in a better format than you could have. But that's that little voice in the back of our head that we were installed in school is if you don't do your own work, it's cheating. And that was great for when we worked in factories, but it doesn't apply to modern day life.
Well, the difference is there's ghostwriters, okay, where they do everything for you.
Yeah.
Right. You just talk a little bit and they come up with their own words and your thing and says, this is you. No, that's not me, but yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Then there's other ghostwriters who take your actual words, what you said, and just put it in your voice in the book, exactly as if you've written it. That's the ghostwriters you want. You don't want the other ones. Those are the older ones.
So I'm just typed it in ChatGPT while we're talking. What percentage of books are written by ghostwriters? Nonfiction and business books, 60 to 80%. Celebrity memoirs and autobiographies, 80 to 90%. Self-help and personal development, 50 to 70%. Fiction is the lowest with 30 to 50%. And then it said academic and textbooks varies.
Yeah. Well,
so when you hear
that,
yeah,
fictions. Yeah.
So when you hear those percentages, you realize it's okay to do, but there's an ick factor with a lot of people when they first hear what somebody else is going to write my book. No, it has to be my book. No, that's not the reality of it.
It's some people are really good at writing and some people are really good at talking. They're usually not the same person.
Yeah. Well, look, before ChatGPT,
you, Brian.
Yeah. Before ChatGPT or any AI you want to use, what did people do? They paid copywriters to write their content. Hey, here's my product. Here's what it does. Go write copy for me. Copywriters used to be a high, $200,000 to $300,000, a year easily for a good copywriter. Now you don't necessarily need them. Well, maybe they refine it, but you're not paying what you were paying at one time.
So my approvals now that I get for loans, I used to copy and paste over the thing and ask people for this. No, GPT, drop it in there, it writes it for me. Get rid of number 4, copy, paste, done. I'm done in seconds, which would normally take me, if I'm sending out a loan estimate and explaining, hey, by the way, disclosures are out here, and I dropped a loan estimate in this thing. It writes a whole nice letter about everything that their payments, everything is beautiful. But I mean, better than anything I could have come up with. And you create a GPT, so now you just do it. So I'm done in like minutes on all my work instead of hours on all my work.
Yeah.
And people are, and that's why I'm saying you don't need to write your own stuff anymore. Just create GPTs so that you can just easily drop what it knows what to do. I do all my podcast pre-stuff, which used to take an hour or so to research people to a certain point. Now I just copy paste their pages and everything, and it writes my whole thing for me. And someone says, well, do you follow it? I'm 9 times out of 10, no, but it's there just in case I want a question that I can't think of myself.
Right. Going back to the coaching masterminds, that's one of the other things that's really good in our Joker, Henry, on Thursday, there's once a month.
You gave it away already?
I didn't say the last name, but, that's one of the things. They have a Tech Tuesday where every once in a while they'll just bring in, hey, here's the new software we're using in our business. This is how it works. That's how I found Opus Clips was through Henry, and that's another reason to be a part of these other groups is who knows who's having a better experience with something than you are. We all just went through that. If anybody here used CapCut, where 2 months ago, it was like, oh shit, CapCut's gone. And so were all my videos that had been there. So you're talking a year, 2 years worth of videos that were like, uh-oh. So what are they out there? I saw an ad for Captions app where now you can go in and read like a paragraph and it'll create your AI twin to do your post for you, which that used to require a separate software. Go to get Hey Jen and all these other things. That's what is another reason to have coaches, have masterminds, because you need exposure to what can you keep refining to trim down the amount of work you need to do on stuff.
Or just how where you can put your time where you really want to put your time.
Right.
Maybe with your family, maybe your kids. I don't know.
It's interesting you say that. I'm seeing an anti-grind culture a lot in the last year. A few years ago, that's all you heard was, hey, 80-hour work weeks. And that's the only way to do it, is to grind, grind, grind. There are still a few people who subscribe to that, but that's not what we're really starting to see. You're starting to see a lot more of the lifestyle is important, family, kids, friends, you name it, and enjoying actually what you have, not just continuing to grind. And, and here's the thing, you can learn from all of them. This very week, starting tomorrow, is Grant Cardone's last 10X. He'll probably have another one, but because that's what they all say is this is the last one. And
it's going out of business stuff.
What's that?
It's like all the going out of business sales.
Exactly.
We're going out
So
of
who
business
knows?
sales.
Will it be his final one or not? But that's Grant Cardone's philosophy is just grind, work, sell nonstop, never really sleep. And that works for a lot of people. And then for other people, it's more of, no, I want to automate as much as possible. I want to hear the dings and things I need to respond to, but I don't want in the day to day. So several of the people we know, they don't read their own email, right? You can have a VA read your email and vet what do you really need to deal with versus getting lost in the spiral effect of being reactive instead of proactive.
And you could have AI just read your stuff too.
True.
Quickly give you a synopsis of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much glance at my email. I don't even look, I mean, there's only certain things I need. When I had other assistants, I didn't even read my email. I waited until he said, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "What? Oh, you didn't see that? No. What is the email? Okay, thank you."
Yeah.
That's why I have my personal email, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that you have, and I'm not saying it here, but I'm just the important stuff comes to that one,
right?
And most of the stuff is so much spam. The phone calls, I'm amazed. Finally, on my business line has actually stopped pretty much the spam, but my cell phone is still getting tons of it.
This is the ADD moment for sure, but I don't understand the newest scam of, oh, this is your toll tag that you didn't pay. Call this number to pay it. It's like, okay, there's a lot of
let me do that one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I got one. There's another one about your IRS or a franchise tax board, your refund. If you don't get this information to them, they won't be able to give it to you. You lose out on the money.
Yeah, they're out there in a whole variety of things. It's just a very. I'm amazed at the spam that's out there. I can't tell you how many of those stupid phone calls I get. Good news, you've been pre-approved by, and it's always Barbara or whatever her name is, but they call from 18 different numbers and it's the same voice, same girl. It's like,
yeah, but they got you once.
No, scammers did get me once. I'm just talking about this automated voice one of you been pre-approved for up to blah blah blah. Like, let me look and see how many of those.
Yeah, they always send that out.
Yeah,
business lines of credit, all this stuff. No, but we just need to focus on. We're in a time now. I still believe in the grind, but I want to grind where I want to grind. You understand what I mean? I want to have certain things taken care of by certain things, and that process is easier, but I can do more. It's like I was talking to Eric yesterday, and he's like, I just keep adding stuff to your plate. It sounds like you do the same thing, Ed. It's like, yeah, we just keep adding stuff because we're able to figure a way to automate it or get it done so that it can get moving forward.
Right. I'm just checking the chat real fast. Okay. All right, we're good.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're just everything that you want to get done instead of paying somebody so much money from, oh, you want to do webinars? We have this whole thing for you and we'll set it all up for $1,000. Get a VA, you could do $1,000 is almost 2 months of time.
Yeah.
Not a full-time one, but that's almost 80 hours. So figure that one out. Not 80 hours, but
Right.
Yeah. Because I keep watching the amount of hours they're taking off and everything else. I was like, wow, I thought for sure it'd be more than that, but no. And I had one and you got to be careful even that, because I had one, they've cleaned up a logo real easy. And then I sent them another one that I designed and they're like, well, it's going to take this and they're gonna have to do this. I said, why is that? Because you just did it on this other one. And he goes, oh, that's right. Let me check into that. And he's like, boop, it was over in like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a very good point. So going back to something we historically ran into is had a company that was hosting my website and everything else. And I said, hey, I need to do maintenance on it. It says the updates haven't been done. They're like, yeah, okay, we can do it. It's 15 hours to do that. And I went to WordPress and there's a button that says automatic updates and backup. Click. So what happened? Yeah. That company tried to get greedy and they lost a client. And I will never refer anybody to them. Because when you dig in, how much time does it actually take them versus what you're being quoted. And that's why you and I have talked about this for a long time. Be dangerous enough that you could stumble through it yourself to have an idea of how much time it should actually take somebody who's proficient.
Yeah, because you want to know that. It's like when I asked somebody to transfer my website from regular WP Engine over to High Levels WordPress, they wanted $8,000.
Yeah.
And it took all of like 10 minutes. I mean, it took you had to back it up, upload it, and then it's all working fine. There was a couple things that needed to be cleaned up, but pretty much it's like, really $8,000. Can you
That
like?
it was people. It was when Go High Level was new, right? And
No, this
people
is
were
just recent, new of the WordPress side. Yeah.
no, I know, but wasn't it the guy that
You one
somebody
you
referred to
referred
me that
me.
I
Yeah,
referred to
yeah.
you?
And then I needed a couple other things done. I wanted
Yeah.
lead magnets created,
Hmm.
which I'm getting done now for less than that,
Yeah.
and a couple funnels. And
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
Yep. And I tried to tell the guy, I said, "You're coming off way too salesy," and because he would send these text messages like, "Hey, I have something that I just found on Go High Level I think would really work for you. You want to give me a call?" And I told him, I'm like, "No, I'm not even going to respond to you with something like that." And he called me, "I'm not trying to be salesy." And so I gave him another shot, referred him to you because I knew you were looking for work. And now that guy will never get a reference because he tried to rip people off because he had bills to pay. And that's never a way to do it. You should be able to charge a fair rate for a service you provide. But when you get greedy, that's when you just end up without referrals and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's on everything. You just got to be careful. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying, just if somebody needs somebody, let me know, reach out to me. I'll hook them up with who I have.
Yeah.
I don't make anything off of it. I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to tell everybody because
Right.
then
No, you're just saying you
it's too
found a good
busy.
source. You're
They'll be
happy to
too
help a
busy.
few.
Yeah, they'll be too
Yeah.
busy and won't be able to handle what I have. But I got more I got to send over the next 2 days. So
Awesome.
well, we'll see. I'm
Well,
still
I mean,
waiting
you
for
said they're
one
doing
thing.
good. You were so just for people who didn't listen back, a month ago, you were like, I don't know if this is going to work out.
That was the other one.
Oh, was that a different one?
That was the first one I went with.
Oh, okay.
It took them the whole thing to do 2 pages combined. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And there was not a project manager in the works from that company that was overseeing, or there was, but they didn't do their job like this dude's doing this job.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. And then that guy, my project, we talk weekly on Wednesdays. In case, to go over a few things. But he's like, if you need anything right away, just reach out and we'll talk right now, But there's nothing I need. So
all right. Well, setting up our
Thursday,
joker, since we're not going to make it Ed's VA team call today.
No, I just want to get the information out there. There's help out there. And if you don't
Right.
get help here, get help somewhere.
You want people to know that there's pods versus people, right? And that is, you don't have to have just one VA and hope they can do everything, that there's now services where they pull from the corral, of what you need done, and at a very reasonable price from what you said.
Yeah, but I also talked to them and I said, a lot of people just use these pods instead of getting one VA to do their stuff constantly. They said, yes, we have people who spend 1,000 hours in these pods a month.
Yeah.
And just because it's easier to just send it in, we'll find the person, we'll oversee it and get it done.
Yeah.
And that's
and that goes back to what we talked about before. That's why people need to start figuring out, how do you stay relevant in a time when sometimes if the cost is significant, people are going to go with cost. You may be an amazing, it doesn't matter, insert whatever your title is, but if people can get it done and it's still decent quality work for a third of your price, they're not going to stick with you unless you have built a solid relationship with those people. And that's why soft skills, people skills, emotional intelligence, whatever acronym or name you want to throw at it, will be the new currency going forward. Because it's no longer, before it was like, well, and I'll use this as an example. Somebody hit me up on WhatsApp. They're like, hey, I can do a speaker reel for you. I'm like, okay, well, what's the cost, before I even talk to you? And they're like, it's X amount. I go, that's what it costs here in the US. And I can go meet with the person face to face. Why would I use you? Well, I provide quality work. So does that person. You're not giving me a reason to go with you. And that's what people have to look at, is it's going to come down to relationships. I would rather go work with somebody, if it's the same cost, I'm going to meet with the person I can go and sit it down with, versus somebody who hits me up on a cold DM. So you got to determine, is your business going to be based on who you are and what you provide, or are you going to be a lower cost solution to try and get more business?
It's about being, I wanted to get this in there, which was be the authority. If you're the authority, people will pay you what you're worth. If you're not the authority and you're trying to get stuff done, they're not going to. You have to become the authority in whatever you're doing, whatever that is. But I'm also saying, the reason I brought up the whole scribe media is I've seen some books out there that's like, really? What I mean? If you're putting your name on a book, for me, my first book had to be amazing, with the overall look, everything, because it's me. It's Ed Parcaut, not Brian Galke.
That's right.
or Galke.
Whoever that guy is.
No, what I mean is you're coming up with an amazing book. You're writing it yourself. You're
Yeah.
doing everything. And the covers, I'm sure, is going to be really good. But I've seen some books that's like, really? That's your cover? Because you want, don't cheap out on things either. You got to be careful. I'm not cheaping out on where I'm going. The first place I went to cheaped out. You follow me? That was even cheaper. But the way that they sell it is like, okay, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So just be careful. Do what you're trying to do very well through authority, whoever that is. And then feel free to pay that.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with getting a book out there. Just like I was talking with a guy, a really cool guy. Actually, I'm going to have him on. I don't want to give away who he is, but former Chicago hostage negotiator. And I was talking to him the other day, and there are people that put out a book just to get their first piece of crap out of the way. So then they can feel like, okay, I published a book, that pressure's off. You don't have to give it to anyone, but you can say, I have a book, and then you can work on a quality thing. And I did a post on that on my story today. And that's just basically what you and I have always heard. And that's the get going, then get good.
Right.
Yeah. What's that?
I can see that.
Yeah. But he showed me his book. He's like, I paid a company $150 for this book. A different guy did. He's like, it's just so I could have one as a giveaway. It's nothing fancy. Yours is going out with a specific person. It's part of your mission, your passion. That's a different subject. Yes, that needs to be a refined work of art. And you invested heavily in that, both with your time, money, everything.
Right.
But if you're scared to get something out there, get your first piece of crap out, right? That you don't have to give away to anybody, then work on a better version of it.
How about make that an ebook?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Make it an ebook. So, because then, and what I just found out, so this is something else. So, if remember how, if you do your stuff through Amazon, everybody uses Ingram Spark, right? That's who they go through. That's when you go to set up your stuff, that's who you go through, and they sell through Amazon.
Not familiar with it yet.
Yeah, not yet. You will be.
Yes.
Anyway, what they did about a year or so ago, this is what I found out talking to the guy yesterday, is people go, why are you still doing these podcasts on Internet Edison? Because I learned so much about my business differently than on Helping the Brave. And you can get links to where on your webpage, it says get Ed's book now. You click on it. It goes to my cart, not Amazon. I have a cart now over at Ingram to where you can buy the book, and I make what Amazon makes now.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of only making $3 per book, you can make $10 per book and sell it for the same price. What's nice about that is you can then, instead of going, you get to keep everybody's information.
Yeah.
That's
the important that's what somebody else was talking about. Cause I don't remember who they ended up using, but they were saying like, yes, it's nice to have Amazon bestseller, all this kind of stuff. But again, my old mentor, I recommend his book all the time. And I thought, oh, he's making, all this. He makes like $1 or $2 a book. And so people who think that somebody's going to get rich off books, that's not the case. And we should have somebody on we could have Amerly on again, because she just recently went and published a book. But for the people who didn't listen when we talked about this probably like 6 months ago, the 3 ways to do a book are 100% self-published. You can do a hybrid. You can pay some company's intermediary, or you go to a publishing company. But if you go to a publishing company, the nice thing is you get cash up front, but you give up a lot of freedom and flexibility for that cash.
And the ownership.
That exactly.
They give up ownership. That's traditional publishing. You give up ownership, and they got to ask you to be published. There's a difference, and then they take it. So sometimes people do it because it's a purpose that they want to be published by everybody, and some people have their own books first, and then they get asked to publish a book.
Correct.
And then they do it for that reason. It just depends on how you're doing. I mean, Obama and them not going to have somebody. They're not going to do their self-publishing. They're going to have someone write them a check for $1 million, and here's published my memoir. Yeah, it's a little different.
I was on I guess a networking mastermind call that this guy Manny does. I think he does it every other month, maybe every month he does it. And one lady got on, she's like, "Well, I'm working on it was either 23rd or 32nd book. It was one of the two." And I'm just like, how do you have that much information? Like John Maxwell, I get it, but he writes a lot of, well, if you read my other book. So that way he sells 2 books, but not everybody, and that I only bring that up because, like you said, it doesn't have to be about perfection. It can just be get something out, but then you can always increase, do a revision, all that kind of stuff. So it's not And my mentor, when I talked to him, I said, hey, I'm going to do a book. He's like, you got to be very careful. Once it's out there in the world, it's really hard to fix or repair. That's true 20 years ago when he wrote his book.
Yeah, not
but
now.
That's not, yeah. Today, it's very easy because you literally can fix it before the next reprint goes out. But that was advice when people had to buy 10,000, 20,000 copies of something to give away. That's not the way the modern printing does, is you print on demand instead of having to buy in bulk. So.
Right. And that's, I was talking yesterday. It's because with my book, we went through everything and found all these, and then it was published. And then a good, that's a loose term, high school person that I knew went through all my book and sent out this thing on Facebook. Hey, Ed, I read your book. You got this mistake here. You got this mistake here. You got this. Thank you so much, you asshole, for not sending it directly to me and telling me. But anyway, he went through everything and found all these mistakes, and your chart's off. No, my chart wasn't off. Somebody had replaced the decimal point on the interest rate and did the interest rate wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
So, I mean, and so then it was like, okay. And then they fixed it within an hour of finding out this stuff. And then when you ordered the book again on Amazon, it was already updated.
Right.
So there is no reprinting anything. It's automatically the next one.
Right.
And once we're off here, don't run away. I'll share you what I did on my book so you can see what I was talking about.
Cool.
Well, let us go because it's 36 minutes. We're past the hour.
Yes. So, all right. Well, once again, everybody, thank you for joining. It's Ed Parcaut and myself, Brian Galke, here on Aces53. And today is a Tuesday, so it's just Ed and I talking. And then Thursdays, we have a joker. Who is a joker? It's somebody with a special skill or talent that we want to learn from, and we want you to be able to learn from as well. So if you have anybody you recommend or you want to volunteer to be one, reach out to either one of us. And the best way to support us is go and subscribe to YouTube. Eventually, we'll stop being lazy and put this out, since we've got 2.5 years of episodes, so that you can listen to all of them over time.
You can just go to Aces53. You can watch every single one of our videos.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you guys. May not be here next week because I'll be at Secret Night, but we'll figure out what we can do.
We'll figure something out. All right, everybody, make it a great day. Thanks for hearing, Brian.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, bye.